Okay, so today I want to talk about why you hate running and how to change that. Let's get into it. Okay, so genuinely, I think from people who don't run a lot, running might be the most universally hated things like on the planet. Like whenever I bring up to people that I lift, it's like, oh, okay, like yeah, I like lifting too, or I try and lift, or like I want to get into that, like whatever, wherever they're at. Whenever I bring up running, they're like, oh my God, I could never. Or like, oh, that sounds awful. And at first, at first glance, I just assumed it was that once I got into it, I just enjoyed it and other people didn't. But then the more I ran, the more I realized that I think there's a reason that most people don't like running. And it doesn't have to do with the fact that they don't like running itself. It has to do with something that happens while you run. And if you can just negate that, I think a lot of people would actually really enjoy running. So let's break it down. When most people try and start running, they just pick some random pace. They just start. Like they just walk outside, probably didn't warm up, and just start running. And by about 2 minutes to 3 minutes in, they are out of breath. Like completely out of breath. Because they're likely running at a pace initially that they have no business running at. Like I can tell you, for me right now, like when I go to run a mile, I start out at like a 6 minute 30-second pace. When like when I'm doing like 5K, which is when I run, I need to be at like an 8-minute pace to be able to maintain that. So I think that is people's biggest issue, is that they don't know how to pace themselves and they start off going way too fast. And obviously, the reason that's a big issue is because then you're out of breath completely. You can't catch your breath. You're going, and you're just dying out there. And obviously, that is not an enjoyable experience. Like, that is not a fun experience. And I completely agree with people that say, like, they don't like running if that's what they're thinking about. Like, I don't like that feeling either. It's one of the reasons that, though I do sprinting workouts, I'm not a big fan of them. But that's the issue. So just because you're running, it doesn't mean you have to be out of breath. Like, those two things are not inseparable. You can run without being out of breath. And that's something that I realized more and more the more I started running, because I started to learn how to pace myself, and I started to learn that once I was actually at a good pace, I wouldn't be out of breath. Like now, personally, when I first started running, my 5K time my mile time during 5K, let's just talk about it from that sense, was probably, as like 2 months ago, it was probably like 9 minutes, 30 seconds, somewhere around there. Now it's around a little under 8 minutes, let's say like 7:55, somewhere around there. But now if I run like a 8:25, 8:30 minute mile, and I just like start doing those back to back or whatever, like I could almost talk on the phone. Like I'm very comfortable having like a conversation. Like I've ran with friends and I've been able to talk throughout most of the run. Now, they might not want to talk, so then I kind of stop talking. But that's a different story. So with running, I think that is the biggest thing. So now we've kind of identified the issue. It's like being out of breath and not really knowing how to pace yourself. So what do we have to do? We have to solve that issue. So this is how you can change it to see if you actually like running. Because I truly believe, I think most people would like running because you almost get that same level of clarity of like a clear mind, like when you're walking for like a long distance and like just not thinking about everything and just clears your mind a little bit. You can also get that with running, but almost like a more intense version of it because you're doing a little bit more. So how do we do this? How do we figure out how to not be out of breath and how to pace ourselves? So 2 things. One, when you start, you need to not care about how fast you're going. You need to just, what I would honestly say is for your first couple runs, I would not really care about the time, but I would still time it just so you have a sense of where you're at. And I would just go at a very slow pace, and just have one rule: just don't stop running. That's it. You can slow down, you can go as slow as you need, but just don't stop running. And if you think you can run a 8-minute, 30-second mile, go for a 10-minute mile. Because most people have no clue how far they can run, especially like long distance. If you haven't done it since like high school, you have no clue how fast you actually are, and like how bad your endurance probably is if you haven't trained it. So I would start at a really slow pace and go from there, because that'll allow you to actually enjoy the runs. Because I've realized the slower I run, the more I enjoy it. But for me, when I'm like training for things, like when I was trying to get a sub 25-minute 5K, like when I was really pushing for that, most of my runs weren't like these crazy enjoyable things because I was out of breath for most of them. I was really pushing it. Now, I don't mind taking my foot off the gas a little bit and progressing a little bit slower, because I actually enjoy my runs a lot more now. So I just talked about not being out of breath, but you want to slow it down and pace yourself. So the easiest way to pace yourself is going to be, if you have an Apple Watch, you could use that. That will tell you your pace. I use the app Strava. The Apple Watch has it built in, like the tracking. Strava is a downloadable app. It's free. There is a premium version. I don't have that. I just use the free version. Strava can also work in your Apple Watch. One thing I will say is, because I found this out because I was kind of curious, whatever app or whatever way of tracking your mileage and time and pace you use, stick with just that one, because if you switch it up, they're going to be different. So for example, I did a run with my Apple Watch on my left wrist. It was literally just on my wrist like this. And then my phone, which I can't grab right now because I'm using it to record, was in my right hand while I was running. Same run, like literally just different hands. And I ended up doing a 5K that day. There was literally, it was a 0.12 mile difference by the end of the run in how far the Apple Watch said I had run a 5K, I think, whereas Strava said I ran 3.24 miles, or it was something like that. But that's a big difference. That's over a tenth of a mile. Like, that's a good amount. And a 5K, like 3-mile run, isn't crazy long. So with that being said, you're going to want to find some way to pace yourself. So I like using Strava personally because I like holding my phone when I run. It also allows me to change my music if I need. It gives you your mileage, your elapsed time, plus your pace. And it gives you your splits at the bottom. Plus it has like more stuff afterwards, but that's all just like during the run. And all of that is really helpful. But once you really learn how to pace yourself, running becomes so much more of an enjoyable experience, because you're not just like out of breath the entire time. So genuinely, I would really love, please try running if you are not already. And if you don't like it because you're out of breath, just go a little bit slower. And maybe you are someone who runs like once a week and you hate it. Like, just slow it down slightly and it'll become a more enjoyable experience. Because most of us aren't training to be top 1% athletes. So if you're not training to be a top 1% athlete, guess what? You don't need to go pedal to the metal every time you run. Like, you can slow it down a little bit and actually enjoy what you're doing. Because one of the biggest things with exercise and diet and like a lot of things like health-based is, honestly, enjoying it is more valuable than doing it the best way. Because if you enjoy it, you're actually going to stick with it. You could do it the best way, but if you only stick to it for 1 month out of 3 months, what's the point? It's way more effective if you do it maybe only 90% as effective, but actually stick consistent and stick with it. So I hope this helps. I hope this can really change your perspective on running, because it used to be something that I didn't really like, but like now I love it, especially like specifically long distance runs. I really do like have started to love them because I'm not just like out of breath and dying the entire time. So please try this, learn to pace yourself. Basically, the whole message of this video is just slow it down a little bit. And if you guys enjoyed, go for a run. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you next Sunday at 5 p.m. Catch you there.